What's going on, everybody? Keith here, 2Guys How2. Just here today to show you guys how to change the rear tire. I'm actually going to do both tires on this pedal bicycle, and it's an older Free Spirit. It looks like about a 70 something Free Spirit we had picked up from a gentleman. It's got the original tires on it. They're dry rotted. The tubes don't hold air. There's tubes inside the tires, but it does have the original 3-speed, original grips, the ape hanger bars, banana seat, which I'm going to swap out. Just so she doesn't ruin this, I'm going to put an updated banana seat and put this one into storage to keep the bike original. So there you have it, the Free Spirit. Let's get busy. My other video I showed you how to do the front tire on another boy's BMX bike, but today I'm just going to show you how to do the rear, just because it has the chain and the sprocket back there and it's a little bit more complex. So let's get busy. Got a piece of cardboard laying down. I'm going to flip this bike upside down, and that way on the cardboard we don't damage anything, and the tire will be up in the air towards us, and we can go ahead and operate on it, get it off of there, break it down, and we'll get this new tube and tire put on here quickly. Okay, and before we flip this thing upside down, I wanted to show you guys, a lot of bikes have the gears, some don't have it. They have just this coaster brake here, and this particular bike has a planetary gear where it shifts gears inside the hub. You can see how the cable pulls it like so, and it pivots, and it's shifting inside there. So we want to disconnect that before we can take this hub off. And there's a little teeny cotter pin. I'll point at it with my needle nose right here. It's almost human hair thickness right there, and the other side is right here. So let's see if I can do this and hold the camera just to show you guys where it is. It's right in here. So you just want to straighten that out, or go ahead and just pull that out, and that'll release this little pin right there, and then this cable will come free. And we're going to go ahead and leave the shifter tab on the hub. See where we've got the rim now, it's up. So let's just take that chain off and just set it to the side. Just drape it right here. Don't worry about it. Just leave it there. We're not going to worry about it. That way later when we go to set the rim back, make sure you put it around the sprocket and put it back up on the frame. Very, very simple. So we can just let that sit down in there. Let's go ahead and get ready to take this rim tire up off of here and put on a new tire real fast. And you guys are in the sun, I'm in the shade. And you can see this tire is just totally beat up. So I have a rag. I've got a plastic kind of bicycle tool that you can go around the rim, as well as it's crimped right here, just so you can get the rim, the tire in and out without pitching the tube. I also have a screwdriver that's been rounded out. They make a plastic tools just like this, these little pry bars just for tires. This one doesn't look very hard, it's so stretched, so I'm just going to go down underneath the tire like this and pop it up outside of that rim. Once you get it out of that rim, I'm going to hold it there and just take this little tire tool and just go around it. If we were just doing the rim, just the tube, I would just pop it over like that. On this side, I would pull the tube out totally like this, and it goes up in that hole in the rim right there is for the Schrader valve where you fill it with air. And if I was just doing the tube, I would put the tube in there, line it up, get it pulled out the Schrader valve, make sure it's straight, pop the tire back in, fill it with a little air, double check, make sure the tube was nice and flat, and then you'd be good to go. In this particular case, we're going to swap the tire and tube. So we've got the tire off, we've got it halfway exposed. Let's go back under there with this special little tool, or you can use a screwdriver or anything you want. Once you get it started like that, these tires are so old, they're just going to come right off. So there we go, simple. And you've got a spoke protector in there. It's called a tube guard, and it actually goes over top of these spokes so the spoke doesn't poke into the inner tube. This one's been moved a little bit. They do sell new ones, which I do have in here on this particular bike. So let me get those. We'll double check this tube saver if everything's lined up. We're going to go ahead and start assembling the tube. Alright, the tube saver looks pretty good. Since this is a vintage bike and it's original, I'm going to leave it. This new tube saver I has a hole in it just specific for the rim. And you can see there's a lipped side here where they glued it together. The other side's more of a flat. I'm going to put that facing up towards the tire, and I'm going to line it up. You don't want anything poking into that tire, that inner tube. I'm going to line it up with that Schrader valve hole there, and it's just a big rubber band, and you just stretch it into place. I've had this out in the sun, so it's a little bit more malleable, and they last a good long time. Let me sit it down like this so I don't sit here and waste a bunch of time doing it. And you can use that specialty tool if you want, just stretch it over. It's simple, just like a rubber band. And you just want it to, you want to make sure it lays totally flat. Covers those spokes up. Yours has one in there. 9 times out of 10 they're good. They last forever. I just want a new one to be sure that that's not what's popping the tube. And let's go ahead and line this up to where it protects these spokes the way it should, and protects that tube the way that it should. Looks good to me. Schrader valve openings lined up. Spokes are lined up, so we can go ahead. We got this brand new tire. And we're just gonna feed it in there. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put the tube in here now. Let me go ahead and grab the brand new tube. We got it. These are 20-inch tires, so let's go ahead and get this other tube ready for this front tire. And make sure you check the outside of your tires. It'll say how many inches they are. And these come folded up like this. I'm just going to undo it and just let it hang out here in the sun for a little bit. Sometimes I'll hit them with a little bit of air just to expand them. I didn't do it on the back one, but we can do it on this front just a little bit. It'll help it go up in there a little bit easier. We're just going to run it like that. Let this thing just sit in the sun for a second and relax. Tube relaxed in the sun. That looks really good too. So let's go ahead and get our tube up on our tire. I like it with a little air in it. It goes in a lot easier. And you want to check the tire rotation. Usually they'll have an arrow which way they rotate. So on this particular one, this is the brake side here. On this side, the tire is going to be going like that, so we want the tire like this. That's the way it's propelled. So we can go ahead and line that Schrader valve up if we want right now. Poke it through that rim. And I have the cap in my pocket. Go ahead and get that cap on there. That'll hold that valve stem in place. And now we can just start feeding this rim into the tire grooves gently. You don't want to pinch that inner tube. Just pull it up around there. Sometimes they'll go right on. Sometimes you got to use that little tool. Let's hope that we can just pull this on and not have to use the tool at all. You can do both sides at once or one side. And then it's usually easier to do one side and get it on, and then flip it over and double check the back side. And you can see how we're starting to pinch that tube right there. Make sure you push that up in there and get that tire back on. It's that simple. And just make sure that Schrader valve is straight. So right now, before we even mount it on the bike, I'm going to add some air just to make sure the tire seats on there. And you can see right there, you can see that tube is overhanging. You don't want that. You want to make sure that tube is inside that tire the whole way around it. That's why you add a little bit of air gently and watch it fill up. So let's put some air in here. And let's watch this thing very, very closely. right, looks pretty good. It's a little bulged right there where the tube is, so we're gonna have to make sure that's seated really well. And you want to make sure that Schrader valve, you can kick the tire left or right, back and forth to make sure that valve is straight. When you get that valve nice and straight, and it looks like the tire is all inside the rim and the tube is inside the tire, you don't want to fill it up with air and pinch it. That's why we're going to give it another burst just to make sure it looks right. One more time. Just a little bit, not much. We're going to go around the bead again. I don't see any tube sticking out of this tire. Schrader valve's pretty straight. It's going to need a little bit of popping right here, but it'll do that. Once we fill it up, I think it looks good. It looks real good. So we can go ahead and officially add air to this. I'm still not going to fill it all the way up because I don't want to pop anything. I just want to make sure it's seating on there right. Looks pretty good. Nice tire. And double check the rotation. We know our chain was on the left when the bike was flipped up. Alright, so we got the rim, tire's good, nice and beaded. Don't forget, pick up that chain, hold that chain out, and gently put it around that back sprocket right there. And let's go ahead and just get this thing set back down into the frame the way it came out. Remember, it was a little hard on this bike. It almost like somebody had pinched the frame together right here. And let's make sure the chain is up on this front sprocket as well. Okay. Looks good. Let me double check. All that looks good. Now we just got to pull the axle back a little bit. Pull this rim back, and we want to make sure we leave a little slack in that chain. A little bit, not too much, but you don't want it overly tight. You know, probably about a ½ inch, something like that. So let's go ahead and get these nuts tightened down on both sides. Not all the way tight, just touching the frame, and we'll pull back. The chain looks pretty good. Let's run those two 15mm wrenches. Make sure that tire is centered too. If not, pull back on one side more than the other and tighten it down. Don't forget to hook up that coaster brake the same way. And if you have gears back there, just hook up that little planetary gear. Give her a spin. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. So now all we got to do is tighten this planetary gear up. Get that cotter pin back in there, and we'll be back on the road. Alright, so let's just go ahead and do the front tire while we're here. 14mm on these front bolts. Take this axle off. These usually have a little lock washer that goes in there, a little hooked washer. You want to make sure you pop that out. And the brakes sometimes can give you a hard time. So what I do is I go ahead and let all the air out of the tube. That way when you pinch the tire in, it'll come, you can leave the brakes adjusted and they'll pull right out. So let's see if we can get these pulled out here. They haven't been out for a long time. Sometimes you might need a little screwdriver to pop those off. just to get that one lock out of there and out of the frame. They haven't been off for so long. Alright, should just pull right up and out of there. Once again, pinch that tire, pull it out of the brake system, and let's take it over to the table and swap this one too. Same thing with this one. Let the air out of the tire all the way out. Sometimes I take that whole Schrader valve up and out of there with a special tool. They have the Schrader valve removal tool. It's got a little horseshoe on it, goes up inside there and physically takes that valve out. That way we know that tube won't hold any air in it at all. The front tube I think was okay. The back tire was the one that went totally flat. And you can see I took the whole Schrader valve out with that special tool. We'll save that as a spare, but we know the tube, we can hear it, still has plenty of air. It wasn't let out by that Schrader valve because it was so old. So once again, let's just grab that little pry bar there, the plastic one, that way it doesn't scratch the rim. And just go around and get this tire off of here. And hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing right there. Same way, simple. Just get it off the rim, pull it out, and you can see right there what I was talking about with the rim saver. On this particular bike, the back one was white, which I think was original. This front one's got some rust in it and dry rotted. It's totally done. And you can see there's some rust down there in those the spokes, which will cause that to deteriorate, and that's how you're going to get it flat. So let's get a wire brush and clean this up before we go any further. Alright, so I got wire brushed that rim and I put some paint on it just so the rust won't come back. And we got it, these are 20-inch tires, so let's go ahead and get this other tube ready for this front tire. And make sure you check the outside of your tires. It'll say how many inches they are. And these come folded up like this. I'm just going to undo it and just let it hang out here in the sun for a little bit. Sometimes I'll hit them with a little bit of air just to expand them. I didn't do it on the back one, but we can do it on this front just a little bit. It'll help it go up in there a little bit easier. And we're just going to run it like that and let this thing just sit in the sun for a second and relax. And then let me go grab the rim. It should be dry. The paint should be dry now, and we'll go ahead and get it installed. All right, rim's dry. You can see where I painted it, all up in where the rust was. So it should protect it pretty good. Looks a lot better. So we can go ahead and get this rim saver on here now. And looks like I could have got a little bit more paint right up in there. Let me just spray up in there a little bit more and we'll get the rim saver on. Okay, paint's dry. I applied a little bit more where I saw it looked like it could rust out a little bit. And it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and get this thing put together. Alright, rims looks good, the paint's dry, got it everywhere over top of the rust. Let's go ahead and put this rim saver on here, line it up to that hole in the rim right there, and the hole in the rim saver right there. We're just going to lay it over there and stretch it like a rubber band. Nice and easy. You want to make sure it lays over top of those spokes. I went ahead and got these. I think these were like maybe $1 for a brand new rim saver. The rims should come with them, but 9 times out of 10 they don't. So line it up. That Schrader valve hole is open. I'm gonna go ahead and just kick this over top the spokes right here, 100%. Real quick, it's trying to stick on me. All right, good to go. It's covering all the spokes. That way we won't get a flat. Looks good. Tube relaxed in the sun. That looks really good too. Let's go ahead and check our tire rotation here. It's got an arrow this way. So we want to make this rim, the front rim's ambidextrous. Basically it can go either way. So that doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and get our tube up on our tire. I like it with a little air in it. It goes in a lot easier. And it'll be out of our way when we go to put that bead up against the rim there. So let's go ahead and get our Schrader valve in. Get that lined up right there. Simple. Pull it out snug. I'm gonna put that cap on there just so it can't pull back through on me. And let's go ahead and just start getting that bead. Start off where that Schrader valve is. And see if we can get that whole tire seated on there. Just like this, one go. Let that tire sit out in the sun. Gets a little more malleable and flexible. And we're good here. I'm gonna add a little bit of air to it now. Double check, make sure everything's not pinched on that tube. I like the air. I like putting the air in the tube a little better right off the go. That worked out a lot better. We're gonna add a little bit of air, not all the way yet. Double check the bead around the outside. Sometimes you got to pinch it down and push it in there. And it looks pretty good. There's a little bit of seating right in here. And let's get this back on the bike. All right, and remember, don't put a lot of air in it. That way you can feed it back through these front brakes. And we want to double check the tire rotation now. We know this bike's going to roll like that. The arrow shows like that. And just squeeze that tire gently and get it down through those brake pads. Put this back up on these forks. Make sure you get those little lock tabs, those washers locked in those fork tab holes there, or that rim will pop off on you when you're going down the road. Especially if you're doing wheelies and stuff, the kids, it locks that front rim in there really well. 2 14mm wrenches. There you go. I'm going to top these tires off with a little more air. Schrader valve looks straight, and she'll be ready to ride this thing. All right, there it is. I went ahead and I changed the seat out just because we wanted to save that vintage seat inside the house. So I put another vintage seat on, but not the original that came on this. So let me give this thing a test ride and see how she does. actually greased up the hub on the planetary gear back there, and it's actually shifting now. So this bike's ready. I think she's gonna have fun on this. I got an old bike like this, so I got my girl an old bike like this. And there you have it. New tires, new rims, or new tires, new tubes. The Free Spirit, 1974 Free Spirit. So I'm out of here. Keith, 2Guys How2. I got other things to do, and we're gonna go and take one of the old cars to get some ice cream today. So fix it yourself. You watch me do it. Rewatch the video over and over. Fix it yourself, save the money. If you drop that bike off, you're gonna spend twice as much on what you paid for the tires. I think I got both tires for right around $36, and I got some tubes, maybe they were like about $5. So the cost for you to drop it off, they're gonna charge you $50. You're gonna be up to $100. Just take your bike inside where it's air conditioned or whatever. Do what I did, do it on a table, put some cardboard down, and knock it out. Until next time, check out the other videos. Keith, 2Guys How2, and I am out. See ya. What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace. I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.